Yo, what is up guys? It's the Goblin and welcome back to another Call of Duty Modern Warfare video. Now in today's video, we have to talk about the update that went live into Modern Warfare and the multiplayer earlier today. Now what it was a hotfix, which the difference between a hotfix and an official title update is a title update would be something like a patch with a number that will go live. You have to download on your console and then it'll be, you know, updated right after you download it. The hotfix is something that just requires a restart on game. So if you notice that you had to restart your game, that could be why. But it's basically hot fixed in where these changes are added in, but we don't necessarily need to download a big title update, and the next title update is still yet to come later this week, which we'll talk about. But this update did have some weapon balance changes, as well as mission and challenge changes and bug fixes and general fixes for ground war and general overall. So go ahead and talk about all that in tonight's video. If you guys could drop a like on this thing, that would be absolutely incredible. Let's go ahead and go for 793 likes. If you could smash that like button, it would be much appreciated. Only takes a millisecond to smack that like button, and shout out to everyone new subscribing to the channel as well. I really do appreciate the support, the likes, the comments, the subscribers. Everything has been insane lately, so big ups to everyone and thank you for all the support. Let's go ahead and break this down and talk about it. Now first of all, what actually was this update? We'll talk about that and then when we can expect the title update and then get into these weapon changes. So basically Ashton tweeted out this earlier today, saying that what went out today was a patch. We have an update coming out in the next few days that includes fixes to perks, private match options, weapons, and more. So essentially saying that this was our hotfix patch, but the title update patch is still yet to come in the next few days, which stays aligned with the next week that they've been hinting at for quite a while. We also had other tweets from David Mickner, because I was of course looking into all this stuff, where FaZe Dirty was talking to David Mickner as well as some other people in a thread, basically replying to his tweets that we talked about in the last video, saying that the big update was coming this week, saying was it supposed to be today or can we still look forward to this happening soon? And this is in regards to the kill feed updates that they've been hinting at. And David responds saying, today was the emergency for critical fixes. The scheduled one later this week will have this. So of course we're going to get still a scheduled patch update at some point later this week. Of course this happened on Tuesday, so I'm guessing this one might come out maybe Thursday, Friday. Who knows? It could even be tomorrow on Wednesday. We have to just wait and see. Obviously they have a scheduled patch coming out at some point over the next few days. Also a player Shots responded saying, I thought the spectating glitch classified as critical, and David responded to that saying that the requirements for fixing the spectator require a different kind of patch. This update would have been delayed if we had done that. It's all a balance. So essentially they fixed what they could within today's hotfix, went after a lot of the bug fixes, which we'll talk about, a lot of weapon changes, and then the overall changes where we might have fixing the spectator bugs, fixing some of those S&D bugs, fixing stuff like the kill feed will be all in that next big title patch update, right? We also had another tweet we'll talk about, which David Mickner tweeted this out about 21 hours ago, saying where basically it was a mood tweet, hashtag Modern Warfare. He was playing and got like a double throwing knife to win the round in gunfight, and he says what's interesting here is the caption: we're working on getting updates out this week to address issues, improve the game, and bring new content. Now the first thing is updates out this week, which of course applies now. We kind of understand that because this is the first hotfix update, then we're still yet to get this title patch update. And then what he said also is bring new content at the end. This really stood out to me. I don't know what this means. Maybe there's some new content, at least hints or stuff actually coming out later this week. I'm not really sure. I guess we'll have to wait and see. New content could mean anything from adding one new calling card, which really doesn't mean anything, to adding 20 new maps. You know, obviously that's not what they're going to do, but you know what I'm saying. New content is a very open-ended term, and we'll have to wait and see. I just thought that was definitely interesting. Now, in these patch notes, what actually came out? These are the patch notes posted by Ashton, officially tagged with Infinity Ward onto Reddit. And first of all, let's go through these weapon changes. Now, in the weapon changes, it's for the AUG. Now, I noticed on Charlie Intel, they wrote that these changes are just straight up to the AUG, but luckily I went to the next step of research and I found in the official Reddit notes, which were actually released by Infinity Ward, AUG 5.56 caliber conversion, when just on the patch notes on Charlie Intel, it just says AUG. So I'm inclined to believe that these changes are just to, you know, we have to go off the official official Reddit patch notes that these changes are just in applying to the 5.56 caliber conversion on the AUG, which of course I'll show up on the screen right now. What that is, because the AUG traditionally uses 9mm ammo, I believe, for SMGs, this is an ammunition attachment that the conversion kit to use 30-round 5.56 NATO magazines for increased stopping power, slightly lower cycle rate to help control recoil. So it gives you plus damage and plus range and minus on the aim and recoil control. So that was buffed, and maybe this is going to be the way to go now with the 5.56 ammo. I'm going to have to give it a try, but what was buffed about it for the AUG is they increasing close range damage, they increasing the mid-range damage, and reduce the chest multiplier. Not really sure what that means entirely, but of course increasing close range damage and increasing mid-range damage is going to be huge for something like this, which the whole point of it is to add damage and to add range, which of course is to affect your time to kill, right? Even the adding range is just adding damage at range. It basically all comes down to damage, and it all comes down to the damage of your bullets mixed with the fire rate, which comes down to your time to kill in this game. And this looks like a fairly significant buff for the AUG 5.56, that making it more of kind of, I guess, more of a heavier version of the AUG. Like we saw, I mean, what was it, Modern Warfare 2, we had like the AUG H bar. I'm sure it's not as heavy as that, but very interesting and a buff to the AUG. Next, we have the 725, which of course, this is something we knew the patches were incoming for this, and they did quite a few nerfs, so I'll show it up on the screen. The 725 is of course the overpowered double-barreled shotgun in this game. They did a small reduction to the base weapon damage range, significantly reduced the damage range added by attachments, a small hip spread increase, and reduced effective damage at the hip. Now this is interesting, and this is round 3 fight. They're going for the 3rd round of tuning on this weapon, and they didn't hit anything to do with overkill or anything to do with the sleight of hand or reload times, but this really significantly did change this weapon, it looks like, for sure. So we'll go through each of these. The small reduction to the base weapon damage range and the significant reduction to the damage range added by attachments, of course, just basically in simpler terms means you're going to be getting more hit markers and less one-shots at those medium to long range kill ranges because of these changes, which is one thing that with this weapon was just so damn effective that whether you were hip firing, whether you were aiming down sights, it would just melt people at a long range, at least a significant long range in terms of where shotguns have been at in other Call of Duties, and that has now been nerfed, as well as the other things, the second half of the nerfs, a small hip spread increase and reduced effective damage at the hip. Now these nerfs I'm sure are significant as well, but the thing about those is you can kind of get around them. Already it was ideal to be aiming down sights with this weapon, even though sometimes it was slow, and when this weapon was just at a stupid overpowered spot, it kind of was like, what's the point of even aiming down sights if you can just hip fire them across the map and get the one shot? Now this definitely points you into a spot where this weapon is still going to be strong, I believe, especially to do with the overkill, which makes it very accessible on every class setup, and the sleight of hand, which makes it very fast-paced for a double-barreled shotgun compared to ones in previous Call of Duty games, but without having that insane damage range and making the hip fire a little bit worse. What I would say is definitely try to focus on this weapon getting 2-tap kills if you're still trying to use it at range, just shoot and then let the recoil bounce for a second, then shoot again. And the main tip I would say to counteract these nerfs is making sure you're aiming down sights when you're going into these fights. Definitely a way to go. Next is the Model 680, which is of course another shotgun in this game. A slight reduction of damage range with all range extending attachments. Now this is interesting as well, and this is another thing that I think that not as many people have noticed how good not just one shotgun is, the 725, but another shotgun like the Model. A lot of these shotguns in this game are really, really good, and especially due to the fact of overkill, being able to stack them no problem. You just give up that first perk slot and you get 5 attachments on your secondary, which is essentially going to be a primary shotgun, which is really ridiculous and really powerful. But Model 680, a slight reduction to the damage range with all range extending attachments. Now of course on shotguns you usually stick with those range extending attachments, just like the 725 nerfs we've seen, significantly reducing the damage range added by attachments. Those are still probably going to be the attachments to go to, although it's going to definitely take some testing to see if there's a reason to mix it up. So that's what we have as far as weapon changes that were hotfixed into the game and should be live as of right now according to Infinity Ward, and of course we still have that title update coming later, but there was a lot of other general fixes, ground war fixes, and mission challenges that have been fixed, which I will show up on the screen right now. First of all, with general fixes, quite a few things here. One thing that's funny is the fix misspelling of trophy. It's kind of funny to me that they even bother to put that into the patch notes. I mean, that's just, I guess it's just for fun, it's just for fun, but it's kind Come on, we got some serious issues, and we're laughing at that. Fix the misspelling of the trophy, but quite a few little bugs there. Ground War, where there was quite a few really, really bad bugs. Main one is fixing a bug that would cause the filter on the respawn selection screen to stay on screen when spawning back in, and fixing an issue where the select loadout screen would keep reappearing after already selecting a loadout and attempting to spawn back in. This was one that I've seen a lot of people talking about on Twitter and on other platforms because it was really, really just annoying in general. Mainly on Twitter, people were contacting the developers saying, like, you know, we need to fix this. Ground War's unplayable because of that loadout. So that's why, of course, in this emergency hotfix should have fixed that, as well as some of those general fixes. Next thing is, you know, fixing for an exploit where players could duplicate their kill streaks. It says fix for various exploits. So I'm hoping that fixes the one where people could just loop streaks through this sort of glitch. I believe that's what it is. I'm not sure if that means that the one where people can, like, sabotage you and change your kill streaks mid-game was fixed, but if not, hopefully that will be fixed on a future update or in the next title update or something. It's just good that they're addressing some of these things, and we definitely did need this, I guess you could say, emergency or, you know, quick to put into the game hotfix update. Next is missions and challenges, which of course a lot of those had been bugged, whether it was just not working, whether the progress wasn't counting for whatever reason. The following challenges have been fixed, and I will put a list up on the screen right now. We had 5 challenges that are fixed, and then 5 officer progression challenges that are fixed as well. Of course, missions and challenges for all these. So definitely good stuff, and fixing a lot of bugs were the main part of this update, but these weapon balance changes are significant as well, especially if for players like myself that enjoy playing, you know, on smaller maps or on a shoot house or whatever it may be, because of how strong the 725 is. And I'm gonna have to give the AUG with the 5.56 ammo a good try for sure. You know, next time I'm on and playing, definitely gonna test that out and see how the AUG plays a little bit more with the longer range in mind, or more of, I mean, it's an SMG at the end of the day, but, you know, increasing your damage and range and giving up a little bit of recoil control with your 5.56 ammo. Thanks for watching. Drop a like on this video if you guys could. Once again, we'll keep you guys up to date on everything you need to know. So today was a hotfix update. New patch should be coming out very, very soon. Thanks for watching. Drop a like on this video if you guys could. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new and not already subscribed, and I'll catch you on the next one. That's about it, and I'm out. Peace.